on that. I'm not trying to stereotype, but being ladies, being female, do you think that puts you ahead versus the male counterpart design?
Can you reduce that 3 days hacking to 2 hours? Are you a good contractor or bad contractor? So it reached to a point of asking that question. I was like, I don't think that's for you to judge.
Sometimes they see you as a lady and a young girl, they are more willing to teach us.
Clients also feel more comfortable, like opening up to females.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially home projects.
Yeah.
That's efforts, not a commitment.
Correct, and it's not on the roster.
I'm a designer, I'm not a fortune teller. You better tell me what you want, right? What about then, if assuming that you finish the project with him already, are there clients who still continue to ask you out? Renovation isn't just about tiles and mood boards. It's about people and the personalities, as well as the stories that help make the decisions. I'm Astley, aka The Designer. Join me for the season 2 of the SIXiDES show. Hi everyone, welcome to the SIXiDES show season 2. I'm your host, Astley, aka The Designer. And joining me today, we have 3 beautiful ladies to celebrate our season 2 launch, which is on the International Women's Day. On my extreme left, we have Yuyu from Inside Out. And then we got Kai from Tidplus. And the beautiful Priscilla from H Design. Welcome, ladies, and maybe we can kickstart by having you guys intro a little bit about yourself. Let's start with Yuyu.
Hi everybody, I'm Yuyu from Inside Out Studio. So I've been in the industry for about coming 5 years. So previously, I worked in events, I worked in sales. I sell cars for a moment, and then I even went to work in USS before. Then I finally decided to jump into interior design, and then that's where I started.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai from Tidplus. I'm actually in the industry for 16 years, excluding the years where I work elsewhere. So I actually studied interior design. Then I went to join Singapore Airlines for a good 5 years. Then I restart into the interior design industry again.
Hi everyone, I'm Priscilla, creative manager at H Design. I mean, design is not my first job. I was actually a teacher. I was teaching food and nutrition in secondary school. And then I just took a leap of faith and joined the interior design industry.
Wow, we have a very wide, eclectic range of past profession. So we have an events person, and then we got a crew, and then even an educator. So why did you guys decide to jump into this industry?
I've always liked sales. I like to meet new people, but I also like to coordinate. I like doing events, doing coordination with the logistics and speaking to vendors and everything. I like these two. So it was tough for me to find the middle ground. So after that, I met a friend, and then that's where I realized these two coincide with each other.
My dad was in the industry, so I got a little bit of influence.
Okay.
So before my O-levels, I already know I want to pursue interior design. So I just went to study that. Then after that, I joined a firm, worked for 2 years. Then enough of OT, so I decided to take a break, go and fly, enjoy myself for 5 years, then I'll come back.
Okay. Yours would be the most interesting. You're an educator during, secondary school, right?
Secondary school.
And then go into ID.
Yeah.
So extreme.
Actually, I really don't know what I want to do for my whole life, actually. So when I went to teaching, it was actually a sponsorship program.
Okay.
So I managed to go through the whole program and stick through for 5 years. But in the 2 years when I was teaching, I know it wasn't my thing. I just find very mundane. Every day I'm trying to chase deadlines and, meeting people like KPI all this. So I felt like it's not really me. So I'm done with shaping classroom, and now I am shaping environment.
Nice.
And then I think I'm in a good place. I really don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm happy with what I have yet now.
Yeah.
If you were to describe your design style in one sentence, what would that be?
Okay. I think I'm quite design orientated. So I really took a lot of time when I think about a space. So I would imagine myself in a space, and I will visualize how am I as a person, as a client, staying inside. So I took a lot of time. So I would say design to me is something that is very personalized.
For me, it's I like beautiful, nice things. Modern, contemporary, a touch of luxe would be my immediate response. But over the years, I've tried a lot of different team that customer comes to me, and I do enjoy executing them. It's fun to do something out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then for you, Yuyu?
I think nowadays, a lot of owners, clients are very well prepared when they come and meet us. But I'm always drawn towards mid-century model with the darker woods, and then with the pop of colors that come in. But of course, doesn't mean a client come to me and they like something totally different from me, I will reject them. Definitely not. But I think design wise is very subjective, so it really plays a part. Like similar to what Priscilla said, is that we usually will visualize ourselves living in the house. Like even though it's our client's house, but we need to visualize that okay, this is also going to be our house. Like so that's how we can communicate better with the client as well, to understand them also.
The common thread that you guys have talked about is this level of empathy for the projects, which is essentially putting yourself in the shoes of the occupants.
Yep.
Now, do you think that you have an advantage on that? I'm not trying to stereotype, but being ladies, being female, do you think that puts you ahead versus the male counterpart designers? Maybe let's start with Kai.
Yes, because as a mother as well, as a daughter, we tend to be more aware of our environment, storage issue, little detail like sharp edges, how the grandparents might walk around the house. So I think it helps because we are a little bit more detail oriented, I might say.
Clients also feel more comfortable, like opening up to females.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially home projects.
Yeah, I mean, okay, for guys, I think they like to test us. So, I mean, it's okay,
Yes.
so long as we know our thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we don't mind to be tested, but I think it can create quite a good rapport at the start, because they feel comfortable with you, they tend to open up more. So I also can get to know my clients more, and I can, it's a very nice journey for me if it's good style.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten experiences before, like what Priscilla mentioned as well, is that when I have a meeting and then some male clients or even female clients, they will like start to have doubts on us, and then they will start asking us on not even technical knowledge, it's very in-depth technical knowledge to test us. So that's where on our part, of course, everybody as an ID, we need to learn so much more, and this learning is never ending one. It's like just now when I was asking Kai, it's like 16 years, never ending.
Yeah.
You are still learning no matter what. Yeah, so that's what I feel lah.
Do you think that capabilities is actually, or rather technical capability is a male thing? Like for example, some people say that female going to a job site are maybe a bit disadvantaged, right? For example, because it's a little bit more dirty, and then the guys are the one at the job site lah, and then they may, you wear a bit nicer, then you feel that it's not appropriate. Then at the same time, they may not take you seriously.
I mean,
For you?
I love it. I love going to jobs. I mean, this one not selling sunset lah, where
Yeah.
everybody wear very nice, wear high heels, But I mean, I really love it. I love going site. But advantage wise, definitely we have a slight advantage when it comes to us. Because like sometimes we need to carry heavy stuff and all, and our contractors when they see us like so 可怜 that kind. But actually, at the end of the day, we will tell them 我可以的, I can do it, but they will just want to help us.
Sure.
So of course they are very helpful. But in terms of going site, I love going site. I love like my shoes are dirty with all the dust and everything. I have left side with my whole body full of plaster, all those. I love it lah, just love it, yeah.
Okay. Then what about you, Kai? Are you like, if you're on a job site, right, are you the calm queen? Are you the strict boss? Or you're like, okay, I see I don't say you now, I go back and report. Are you like that kind of what?
I'll tell them direct, but I'll be very firm. Yeah, and I mean my business because if they know me lah, I go there. I'll just, because nowadays the workers these days they are also very helpful. They don't really like give you an attitude, so we work nicely to each other. I also go to site dressing like that with my heels as well.
Wow.
I don't care how you look. At the end of the day, I just clean, but I don't mind sweating, getting dirty. It's part of the job. You have to like this part.
Yeah. Is there a particular color that represents you? Let's start with Yuyu.
It's always the beige color.
beige color.
It's always beige.
Okay.
It's always beige. I always try to avoid greys because greys tends to give the very cold feel of the house. So I tend to go beige. If the client really want grey, then I will find the middle ground of it. So most of the time it's grey and darker brown that comes in, which is the wood lah. Yeah, that's usually the one that comes in.
Okay. What about Kai?
For me, you definitely see white.
White.
Because I like that that we have the opportunity to put in several other colors, and it always goes well with white, and it's versatile. You see. So yeah, for me it's white.
Nice. You?
I think it changed over the time.
Okay, let's talk about your different types.
Now it's maroon. I just suddenly like maroon, so I want to play maroon. But next time, maybe 3 months later, I want to play green. Then I want to try my way to you try green tiles. How do I put it in? Yeah, so I think it kind of changes over time.
It
and I
changes,
see
the design.
It kind of get inspired by everywhere you go, you travel, you see things. Hey, I want to play this color.
Yeah. My personal take on it is that humans would have seasons as well.
Yes.
And in colors, right, actually, especially when it comes to countries with 4 seasons, white is a reset. So it's winter, and usually after that, then you will have your very spring and summer, and then you have all the explosion of colors. Then eventually you go into the browns and the wood, and then the golden colors, and again you go back to the whites.
Yeah.
And I find that as a designer, when I practice myself, I also had that season. Somehow or rather, there will be one period suddenly I go all white, and then there will be one period very colorful. Then I looked back because I a bit longer lah. I do about 30 years already. I also had that trend. And white always seems to be my reset button. Who has cried because of a project before?
I cry, I think, because of responsibility. Because I think I got this client who are very, very, like, they have a lot of budget in place, but they really want to try the style that I want to bring in. So you really, really, like, squeeze in everything that they have, and then tell me, like, please, I only have this amount. Can you tell me something? And that was, I really just like, because they kind of trusted the process, and I believe that if my clients want to believe in me, right, I just want to do something for them. So that makes me very touched,
What about you?
No, I feel stressed, yes, but not to the extent of cry.
Haven't broke down yet.
Never. I mean,
very
hopefully don't lah. Yeah. But I mean, this job really is a emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
It goes high and it goes so low, and it will reach to a point that you will think like, why am I in this industry? It's like at one point you'll feel very burnout. So that's where finding the work-life balance is very important.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's for our job. Very difficult to find a work-life balance. We are on our phones like 24/7 on our phone. We have to find a break time. Yeah, so that's very important.
Let's talk about shocking moments. Are there any like shocking moments that you all have encountered? It could be anything. It could be from a customer. It could be maybe even after you propose and you've done your costing, then suddenly something happened and all your prices went out, and then you are losing money. Have you all had that kind of situations before?
Definitely. Especially during COVID,
Yeah.
where everybody just want their house done, and then everybody just don't allow them to renovate, and then so many complaints every day, so many calls every day, so many delays every day. It was a moment that for my past 16 years, it was something that we have never experienced before in the industry, never. So we have learned how to grow with it, make changes, and somehow over this period, the renovation timeline tends to drag a little longer than before, right? It just doesn't went back to that 2 months.
Not even clients. I have neighbors. When I was doing the hacking phase, I have neighbors that called me and start complaining. And I was hacking a 5-room flat at Tiong Bahru, and then they called me and then say like, can you reduce that 3 days hacking to 2 hours? I was like, that is highly impossible. That is not even cannot even think of any solution. Yeah, so then that's where like there's a lot of negotiation and need to like come to the common ground. Like 2 hours is really impossible. From a 3 days to a 2 hours is totally impossible one. He did reach to a point to like asking question is like, are you a good contractor or bad contractor? So he reached to a point of asking that question. I was like, I don't think that's for you to judge, because first of all, I'm not even working on your house, so I'm working on my client's house. But of course, I will convey all these messages to my client, so at least I need to let you know that you have this type of neighbors around you.
Yeah. Many times we do projects, it's not just doing for your clients, you're doing because they are the occupants.
Correct.
So on that aspect, right, do you think that because you said just now that there are advantages when it comes to the sales part, when it comes to the actual execution of the job site, and pertaining to even the environment, these are not your clients, these are the neighbors, right? And do you think you face judgments like this?
I mean, whatever they are doing right now, as long as like you follow the regulations and what we can try to explain to them. If they don't want to listen, then we really have to like speak to someone, email someone higher, ranking that can do something about it. Yeah, just I mean, you can even make friends. I mean, in this kind of situation, we still can try to like make friends and neighbors, and also build rapport with them. Probably can be our next client.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, lor. So I guess there is a difference. But traditionally, I would say that the industry is very judgmental. But as technology and as design becomes more accessible, I do feel that the consumers they prefer a female side of things, especially from an empathetic point of view. Now, have you guys been challenged with projects that you don't normally encounter with one? For example, elderly. You're not old. You guys are not that old yet, right? And then the other one is probably handicapped. Have you all had those kind of experiences before where in a very extreme fashion you have to take your level of understanding as a not just a female, right? But also your understanding as an interior designer to use empathy to do the design.
I think yes, definitely lah. For one, like you mentioned, elderly, and the next one is because, and also next one is when kids. I think a lot of research plays a part, like how much space do they need, especially when there's wheelchair or what are the accessible stuff that we need to do, like maybe we need to do slopes and all. I think all this all goes down to research. From there, then the client will know that, oh, you really did your research and help us think of ways that we didn't even think of it. Yeah, so I think that is very important also lah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think besides elderly and children, sometimes you also need to learn more about religion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them, maybe because I'm a free thinker, so I need to understand their during the design brief about their religion. I mean, where is their altar facing? What kind of things they need requirements. So I think design brief is very important for us to understand the requirements. Then we can really research more. Then during design proposal, it will be smoother because we will bring across all these needs to the table. Yeah.
Imagine you guys manage to get into a time machine. Each one of you all get in a time machine and you go into the first year that you enter the industry. Right? What advice would you give yourself?
Well, for me, it would be very far. Like I just graduated, so like it's so innocent, you know nothing, and then
Right.
you really need to really ask questions. Don't be shy.
Okay.
Even if those guys look rugged and on site, just ask, because sometimes they see you as a lady and a young girl. They are more willing to teach actually.
The first year is the hardest for any ID, but just don't give up. Like what both of them mentioned is that just keep having conversations with contractors, conversation with your designers in your company. Just keep going, keep asking. But I think at most important is be confident, don't give up, and just keep going, conversations, visit all the sites that you can visit and all. Yeah, that's very important.
Let's talk about like going into a real project basis, right? We got the 2Cs, clients, contractors, all right? Which one you all prefer to deal with? Let's start with you.
Both of them are very different. Clients, we usually communicate very formally and very like you need to have a certain professionalism with them as well. For contractors, if you are so close to them and you so have such a good relationship with them, they become your friend. But there's a certain line. There must be a line that is drawn that when it's come to serious work, it's serious work.
Contractors wise, we built over the years, so pretty much like friends already. Yeah. So we won't have any issue. For our client, they are different background, different education, different expectation. So a bit more challenging. But the reason why I like this job is because I like to speak to them.
Yeah, I also agree. Both are very different. Our clients are the one who invest their emotions. Then our contractors are the one who are logistical, the executors. So they need to wait for us to give them information, what to do. So one you have to deal with pricing, the other one to deal with emotions. So both are challenging, but I think it's also a good space for us to learn how to communicate with different kind of people involved in our work.
It's interesting that you categorize, you term them as emotions. Why? Can you elaborate a little bit more about this?
Elaborate on emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also very emotional. But okay, they tend to bring emotions on the table. Be it like gonna be site visit or
Wait,
go for
contractors
shopping.
don't?
No.
Contractors not really. I deal with them only at sites. Yeah. So that's a different ball game. Yeah. So So when they come with different emotions, you need to read read their face. You know how to react. Yeah. So that's why females we have good emotional intelligence. We can deal with this kind of not say drama lah. Just need to read faces lah. So in my first year, I really meet people who are a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So my boss also just show me. That I just have to try to deal with it. Because I believe that this is not if I can deal with this, next time will be smoother. So every tough decision or be problem solving, will make you a tougher person in the long run. Yeah. So now 5th year, I think much better, easier to manage already. So far.
And our 前辈.
Sometimes you have to break the ice after the quarrel.
Sometimes you'll be a therapist also.
Correct. Sometimes it's parent and son argument. So we are actually a counselor as well.
Yeah.
We are here to draw a balance between husband and wife. Who gets which room, who gets what room. We sometimes have to help them identify and the style.
Yeah, so handling couple arguments and fight right before or during the appointment, very, very difficult. I had a lot of time, I just need to walk out from the conference. This is your 家事 not me. I need to just walk out. Yeah, so this is what we usually have to do. So emotion, yes, there definitely a lot to handle from with the clients lah. Yeah.
There are some people who kind of try to tackle this from a finance point of view. What I mean by this is that they quickly identify who is the finance controller,
Yeah.
and then they zero in and then they make the finance controller happy lah. Do you think that works?
I think must have the balance lah, because maybe one is controlling the money and then one wants everything in the world, but sometimes some things, like I mentioned, needs to be pros and cons. Whether this person that wants this certain thing, is it necessary or is it practical for the house? Yeah, so that's where they need us to come in as the middle person to like tell them, like advise them, okay, y'all will want this because of what, and what's the pros and cons, this is pros and cons, and everything. Then from there they go back and then they will evaluate personally already.
Kai, do you think that you will shatter their dreams? Because we're talking about emotions here, right? So out of practicality, budget control, or even from an execution point of view, would you be the type that will say, no, really, I hate to pour 冷水 or be a wet blanket, but it just won't work?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
So I will have to guide them whether budget comes first, design comes first, practicality or whatever you want comes last. So I will help them identify, and then if they are unable, I'll go to break down the consequences of each. Because I want to have a solution at the end of the meeting. It's like we can't just move on without coming to a conclusion. Because our job is to ensure that we guide them through the process.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are lost. They want everything, but they don't know if this works or not.
Yeah.
So we have to be there to break them down for them.
Getting to know the client is very important. Like not only just the surface, we will try to go in depth to like your lifestyle. What do you like to do at home? Do you like to just sit on your sofa, watch TV, or what's your hobbies? Yeah, so we usually will do that. Yeah, so then we can build the house in more catered to their needs as well.
Have you guys developed an empathetic system in your company such that you all can transfer this information?
For my company, we actually work solo. So we run our own projects. So
Don't pass to anyone.
We don't really pass to anyone. So as designer, we follow the clients through project, I say design meeting, then project execution, and then to hand over, it's just one person. Unless like maybe we go overseas or we want to handle something urgent. So it's just a one-off thing. It's not like the whole thing will be offload to another person.
Yeah, so a lot of clients also prefer it like this, because you meet them, they have the relationship with you, you have that rapport with you already, and then go on to the first appointment, second appointment, then when you close, and then you go through with them, everything, suddenly pass to someone else, they're like, like you just throw me out to someone, you're just here to close me as a deal only. Yeah, so a lot of clients will prefer us to follow through all the way.
To a certain extent, wouldn't you have to buddy up with a junior every now and then?
We do, because when we reach to the managerial level, we definitely will have the 小弟 and 小妹 to be under us. But when they first start, usually they will follow through with me
Shadow
a client. But the person will still be in the group chat and all. But at the end of the day, the client is talking to me.
In this day and climate, especially even with AI and the technology and all that, what kind of industry change or cultural change you want to see in our industry? Let's start with you.
These days, customers sometimes they come with a render already. Yeah, so I think we have to move at a faster pace in terms of choice of material and presentation, way ahead of them.
I think it should be less ego-driven. And more of a collaborative kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we want to do it together. It's like a together effort with my clients. It's not like, I say this, you listen what. Then my client is like, I'm a client, I give you the money, so you just listen to me. So it shouldn't be like kind of ego-driven, but more of a kind of group teamwork kind of thing.
I feel in this interior design industry, from what I've met, like friends or in the industry and all, they are quite collaborative, and they are happy to like help each other and all, think of solution for each other. So I think internally in this industry, we are quite okay lah.
Yeah, we can never own all the customers ourselves.
Yeah.
You have to share no matter.
Correct.
Cool. Okay, we're moving to the more vulnerable part of our Q&A. And I'm going to start off with my story lah. Then I share, then each one of us share a little bit of our story. I had one. My particular story is about this customer that I had. This guy is a property agent, sold a house and then got me to do the design work and the renovation. Unfortunately, during renovation period, right, case number one, the father died. And then after that, within 1 or 2 weeks, right, the father-in-law died. Then I think about a month later, as the project progressed, right, the grandfather died.
Wow.
So out of the blue, one fine day, he turned out on the job site, started crying, and then he started saying that, I do this project with you, my whole family died. was like damn personal. I was like, I didn't do anything to you. I don't know anything about your family and all that. But he was very personal. He was quite extreme with me. You know, like when we do marble, right? Got dry lay, one got dry lay. We will go to the tile shop and then we will mark out. We will do the drawings based on the marking. And you know, when it comes to marble dry lay, where their entrances or the first few pieces are very important one, because if you lay, and usually they're the best looking one, and so we put them in the front. So can you imagine this same guy when we started laying right in the foyer, right, fourth piece broke. I don't know how to like tell him, you know, because he was so extreme with me, and then when something like that happened, right, to tell him, I think I would die. And I remember at that time, he was very serious. He was so serious that every tile, we use crayon, right, to put the marking and he sign off.
Oh.
So if I don't confess, he will like literally compare the sign off and say, what I thought I changed. You know, so that was like my very extreme story. Do you guys have anything like that? Let's start with you.
Really? I was doing a swimming pool for our house. It was just initially a swimming pool. So he is, I think he's an Arab. And the wife is a local, very wealthy. So it was only a swimming pool. Then when we started work, right, everything was good. Then every day he starts to bring in his chair and sit there and micromanage every single thing that we
Become
do.
lifeguard.
Yes, and flip
Lifeguard at your swimming pool.
Actually, I don't need to be there. If I tell him 3 workers, it has to be 3. I cannot have 2. So it was a very big challenge working with him because he don't understand that in this industry, it's about flexibility. So long your work is done within that time frame, it's acceptable. But no, he doesn't. So there was a lot of friction during that process. And then he needs to rush out to move in. And there was a timeline that we promised. So I said, I try. I don't know why I client like to hear I try is yes, it's done. That's that day.
Yes.
So while I was at his house at 9 p.m. trying to test the pool, he said, Kai, I'm supposed to move in tomorrow. Why are you still not clean up and not done?
That's efforts, not a commitment.
Correct. And it's not on the roster.
Yeah.
If I can give it to you, why not? Why would I want to delay you, right?
Yeah.
So, and then he backed out, then he went back to his house and he extended his rent. Then throughout a lot of little things. So when I realized that when the client is difficult, the project has a lot of issues. It just overlap.
I think for the start that time is like you take all of them as angels when you first start because you want to faster close your first deal. But as time goes by, then you slowly start to ting, red flag, all slowly start to come up. Yeah, usually have lah.
What about you? Any unique confessions you want? Yeah. Maybe you have something you never tell your client this is the
No
time.
lah. I very scared this kind one. I really very scared. I very scared if they really find out it will backfire on me. So I very scared this kind one. Before I went for the carpentry installation, it was just like 2 days before the carpentry installation. I met the client on site, and then literally from the living room, if he put a marble, it can just roll down to the main door. And I was like, oh goodness gracious me, this is bad. And then it's very hollow on the floor and everything. It's a 4-room flat. Whole house is cement script floor. 2 days before my carpentry installation, I had to hack everything off.
Wow.
And redo all the floor. Because cement script is something we can never touch up anymore. I cannot do another layer anymore because everything already level properly already.
Well, one thing's for sure is that you will everyone will know that you will continue to face obstacles. In an industry like this, that number one, you are dealing with emotional clientele, right? And they will be, because when it comes to their home, it's a personal space. They will take it very seriously with you. And there are all sorts of extreme. But it's important to recognize patterns and such that you can mitigate them and 丑话说在先先小人后君子 I think that's very important in our industry And last but not least, and I think that it's important to be honest Ultimately, I had to tell my client, right, that the marble 垂料, right, and things happen, as well as maybe even to our clients, right, and sometimes as even as a joke, right, to say that actually we don't have it easy we also just at the end of the day trying to make a living. And I have clients who sometimes tell me, the foreman, tell me what I can do. So I'm a designer, I'm not a fortune teller. You better tell me what you want, right? But were there incidences whereby some clients, male clients, will push the boundary with you guys? Go on date with me, something. Eat with me, then you get a job. There are cases like that,
Definitely
right? In the property industry, finance industry. We've heard about it before. Not sure whether you all had situations like that before.
I got.
You got
Yay, finally one yes.
So we're supposed to go for material shopping, right? Because we usually plan the agenda of the day, right? So today we go and see tiles, then like later we go and see lights. Then the first thing he tell me like, have you eaten? I say, I will eat lah. I mean, I eat already. He said, no, actually I'm very hungry. Can you go eat with me? Then we just really go and spend time to go and eat. Then he take me time to go high tea or this like. Then I'm like, like I'm wasting my time here.
So there's no indecent proposal.
It's like it's just wasting. I feel like it's just wasting time. Going to eat with him.
What about then? If assuming that you finish the project with him already, are there clients who still continue to ask you out? But you have, right? I'm sure you all have clients who become
Need to
friends.
My
But always as a couple.
client become friends, yes. Become friends, yes, definitely. But not to the extent of go out on dates, no lah. But like got friends, like maybe will invite us over to the new house warming, those kind. Then usually if I go, I will usually drag one of my designer go with me so that we can go when we want also. Yeah, but housewarming or like Christmas parties, those kind, yes, they will invite us. But not a one-on-one like kind lah.
What about like not in a sexual way, but probably something that you allergic or cannot tahan?
Touch wood lah, haven't kena before lah. I'm terrified with snakes. Really is fiercely terrified. I cannot even see videos of snakes. So if the client come in and tell me they got pet snake, I really don't know how I'm going to handle it. I was like, okay, but I just don't need to see the snake. Yeah, that's the only. But I haven't gotten any.
But
But
like what Pris say, need to do research. You
Yeah,
have to understand how they slither.
I ask my designer, can you help me research? No, I cannot do this. I cannot even see photo of it.
Okay, so now we know one boundary about you.
Just now what you say cats, right? Actually, I'm very scared of cat.
Really?
Really, I'm damn scared of
Very
cat.
common,
Traumatized.
Nowadays a lot of cat lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love cat, but it's okay actually because we don't have to deal with the cats, right? We just deal with the owner, no. But I will go and I'm not as scared as her lah. Won't go and research. I will still go and like research and ask my friends who have cats how you all usually have like cat. You know those kind of cat.
Run.
Cubby
Runway.
holes,
Cubby
the cat
holes,
walks.
correct. So I'll still go and study there and try to infuse that into the home because my client like cat. So I embrace that you like cat, right? I'll do everything for you.
How do you find life? How do you find work-life balance? And then how do you get this? Like in my time as a designer, we only really get one break during Chinese New Year, and every time it's all work.
For myself, right, I really embrace like work-life balance. And I also have a son, so I think I want to spend time with him also because he's still very young. I don't want to, just keep childhood and then he's so big already, he don't need me anymore. So I will plan like trips too. But I'll try to stagger lah. So sometimes when I'm working, sometimes I feel like I want to hustle hard and play hard.
I will brief my client, my expectation, my timeline. So sometimes I let them know that after 8, sometimes you might not be able to reach me because I have my son to manage as well. And I'm a wife and a mother as well. So for holiday wise, I will try to put things like the non-important work that doesn't really require supervision, like painting or maybe a fabrication period. I try my best. Yeah, sometimes both of them are understanding, but there are some kenchong spiders that will still panic lah.
Because I was used to like the Monday to Friday 9 to 6 timing kind. But when I came into this industry, it was a 24, not really 24 hour lah, but it's a Monday to Friday. And then at the start when you are hungry for sales, you will just keep saying yes, no, you never say no. So for the first 2 years, I realized I was burnt out. So that's where I now finally realized, so I will work Monday to Friday and then half on Saturday, and I will take a full Sunday off. So usually I'll tell clients like, if clients want to meet on a Sunday, I say, sorry, that's my only off day. Can I meet you on Saturday instead? Like try to compromise with each other lah. Yeah. Yeah, but in terms of it, I wish that I actually from the start I had a work phone. Like, but I
That's
really
important.
A separate one.
Yeah, I wish I won't, because now at night, right, I want to at night lie down play my Candy Crush, also cannot play in peace because the messages keep coming in, so it's like wow. So I really wish I started with a work phone.
Okay, we're moving on to this more fun segment where it's called Astley Stirs, and this is where we kind of spill the tea about the industry. We ask our guests to 讲行内的坏话。小天使 okay, I stir, then I take, like I cooking like that.
A bit nervous this one.
A picky homeowner or a stubborn contractor?
Which one is tougher to handle, is it?
Yeah,
I would
change
say
one.
stubborn contractor. They
why?
are harder. Because they are 前辈嘛. So they will always, a lot of them will think that they are always right. What they do is always right. But because like we mentioned just now, technology changes, trend changes and everything, fixated on their ways of working, which is the traditional method. They don't want to learn new ways.
This one is for Kai. Let's see what you get. What's one common mistake people make when selecting paint, and how do you guide the clients past it?
Because sometimes when they look at the book in the office, based on our lighting, it looks perfect, with the laminate. Then I went in, hey, don't worry, I go down and see. So I went down and see, it really is pink. It's very different from the choice that she made because her house is very bright. It's a lot of sunlight. So no choice. I brought the actual paint to show her that this is a choice. And then we have to repaint again. That entire living hall is actually 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Third and last stir question. This one is for Priscilla. What items on the mood board do homeowners always like focus and pick on first? But you actually feel that it's like not worth sourcing?
Maybe laminates. But laminate, okay, maybe wood grains wood grain laminate. Probably like, let's say, because usually it's like small swatches, right? Then I then go to laminate shop to see a bigger piece, like 8 feet times 4 feet kind. And they will take their time. Some clients will take their time to see. Then they will, hey, actually, I don't want to see this company. I go to see another company. So we see another company, but it's still back to square one, like what we chosen. I think it's a small. I think it's very trivial for me. Like this kind of mood board thing. Yeah. So far, I feel the clients nowadays kind of like trust us when it comes to material selection. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go into the very last segment of this special episode for the International Women's Day, SIXiDES Show International Women's Day edition. And this is pertaining to young women who are entering into the ID industry. What kind of advice would you give to interior design or aspiring interior designer students who are entering the industry? Let's start with Yuyu.
I think most important, you have to come in with an open mind. I think learning very important. The starting is because even if you're interior design student or even you're not a student or what, maybe whatever that you study in school and what is implemented in the real life situation is might be a little bit different. People keep scrolling your social media, learn from what other ID firms are doing, then slowly study all the design trends and everything. I think that's very important. It's good for them also.
It's definitely a place where they can be creative because unlike consultancy firm, they deal with the owner, they can be really creative. However, you do not expect any work-life balance at the first 2 years, okay?
Don't be scared that you don't know anything. I mean, you don't have to start learning or knowing everything. Just be willing to learn, because there's so much things to learn in this industry. Because sometimes I feel like they are just afraid to, step out, just do a baby step out. But I feel like they should learn to build more confidence in themselves. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, no questions are stupid questions at the end of the day. Just ask. But the thing is that if you ask and someone explains to you already, you have to digest and listen. Because there's sometimes that we have encountered is that a question can be asked once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, same question. It's like, I give you the answer already. Now you reach to a point that you need to go and find the answers. How about you tell me the answers instead of I spoon feed you the answers?
Do you guys have a female role model / interior designer? Could be a role model but if it's an interior designer, even better. Do you have?
Yeah, this now she's my friend. I used to like her design work. She's actually someone from Kuala Lumpur. So she actually she was also doing plaster work. So she do all the dirty job. Then she start to transfer these plaster works into art. So I feel like she actually takes something that is nobody think that it can be something that we call art, right? And then she transform into something that is art. And then now she make it a therapy session for people. So she teach how to use plaster to create artwork.
Or art jam like that?
Something like art jam. So she even go through those courses to and calculate about like therapy. So she help couples to bond through art. Her design studio is architecture.
Sorry?
Architecture.
Architori.
Yeah, and then she's called Catherine Ong.
Catherine Ong.
She just came to Singapore. We just met during one of her session that she had in SAM.
So do you think it's important to either be a role model or let the industry have that female role model?
Cliche to say, I think role model in life definitely have, which is of course my mom. I feel that my mom is already at 73 and she's still working. So I feel that the way I see she 拼命的在 work, even she's still selling cars until now. So I see that her determination and her perseverance for so many years. Then I turn and look at her, I was like, how can 70岁的 can do this and I'm 30 plus and I cannot? So she is like a motivation that I definitely can do it.
And with that, we come to this the end of this episode, this special episode of the SIXiDES International Women's Day episode. We hope you really enjoy and got to know about our three fabulous lady designers, Yuyu from Inside Out, Kai from Tidplus, and Priscilla from H Design. Thank you. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and follow us on our social media. This is Astley, aka the designer from the SIXiDES show. Bye bye.